Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to the Six Bugle Podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Ruiz, and today I have our very special co-host, Christy Hensler. Christy, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing great.
Doing great,
Yes.
as always. Always that wonderful smile and ready to look forward to take on another day, right?
Yes, another week. So we shall see.
So we were very intrigued with the AI discussions that we had at the conference, and obviously it's something that we're all dealing with. Whether
Mhm.
you believe it or not, you are dealing with it already. You are using it already, and there's still a lot of fear out there, Christy, about how it
Mhm.
works and the overwhelmingness of it all. And but we want to let our people know that it's something that you can embrace. You just have to be careful with it. And also, there's the fact that if you don't use it, then you're going to get left behind. So we don't want that to happen. We want to make sure you're using it for the right reasons and utilizing it as an additional tool in your toolbox. So, you wanted to talk about that, Christy? What did you want to share with our audience?
Yeah, I think I just, Jason Hines did a great job at doing the AI piece again this year for us and just kind of giving us a lot of tips. And I know some of you were like a little bit, you wanted to be able to practice it more. And so there was a little bit of confusion there, like, how do I get started? And as I read through some of the insights, notes and things on that, there was mixed feelings. It was like, I love AI, or I need to use AI more in my business, or and there's other people that are like, I'm old school and this scares, me to death, and everything in between. And I get it. Because while I use technology, I don't consider myself like this massive lover of technology. I like my phone, I just turned it on this morning. It's been off since like Friday afternoon. And so I just, but I from a just another person that understands, I guess I just wanted to talk through some of that. And I know Rudy uses AI
Mhm.
a lot as well. And I think I think I would just say, first of all, use it to your level of comfortability. It's not going anywhere. It's going to continue to be there. And so you can, keep it at arm's length, or you can kind of embrace it and use it as a tool. But that doesn't mean you have to like go on there and use it for everything under the sun, you
Sure.
know. But you can just use it, and maybe you don't want to use it for super personal things, but you could use it for something like I use it in my business and personal life. Like I use it to diagnose my house plant sometimes. Like I had a house plant that was throwing leaves that I was like, what is this? And so like I'll put pictures in there and be like, this is my house plant. What's going on with it? And it will answer me. Like there's no harm there. It's not like trying to plan my wedding or anything
Right.
like that,
Right.
anything personal. And so I think you can use it as simple as that, where in the past you would have Googled something,
Hmm.
but then you get all these mixed, like answers on stuff, where I
Right.
feel like when you put something in AI, it's very specific to what you're asking it.
Right.
And so I think, I would just use it at your level of comfortability. I can't say that word, but you get it. But I, so, and, but don't overuse. And I say this to Matt too, because I was like, I used it for something the other day. Oh, I know. We were calculating gym memberships, and they gave me all this math for the kids and for Matt and I and all this stuff. And I could do that math. I could sit down and do it. But I was like, trying to get a million things done. So I literally just voiced it in there. I was like, these are the numbers. Give me the bottom line, because that's
Sure.
all I really want. And then I said to him, am I like killing my brain? Is this wrong for me to do this because I'm not doing the math? And he's like, no, you can do that math, Christy. It's just you're saving yourself time. But
Right.
now, where my kids, they need to learn how to do the math. So
Right.
I'm not telling them they would go in there and do that.
Right.
But
Right.
it's like,
Right.
no, you run the numbers. So the difference is I know how to do it. If I didn't have AI, I could still do my own math. But
Sure.
it just saves me so much time. And as administrative assistants for you all in your work, even to like organize a schedule, even if you said, hey, these are all the things I need to get done today, these are the top three priorities, make me a schedule, just stuff like that. It can almost act as your assistant
Right.
to help you be more efficient and productive.
Sure.
And so I think if you could just use it in those small ways to start, it would take the fear out of it, maybe,
Right.
because it wouldn't be anything like deep and dark. But I
Right.
mean, what are your thoughts on it, Rudy?
No,
Are you
definitely.
scared?
No, I embrace it. I think it's there's so much out there right now, right? That could be more beneficial, and every little piece that you're engaged in, there's an app for that. There's something out
Mhm.
there that can make that quicker, faster, stronger, the whole thing, more creative even. I've always said that it's not going to take over our creativity. We still have that. We still have the ability to create things, but now it's starting to do that. Think about this,
Mhm.
Christy. Right now, AI is the dumbest it's ever going to be.
Yeah, I know.
Only going to get smarter. And so, we have to at least understand it better and not be afraid of it, because then we're going to get left behind. So, there's so many things that you can use now. As for those fire departments out there, there's cities, townships, states, districts that have restrictions, right? Because you're
Okay.
your own database, and you have to be careful on what you
Mhm.
allow in. That's why it's very important for your IT to be involved in this if you ever try to download any type of AI service. So that you're going to have to be careful with always.
Mhm.
But for you personally, you have to be careful with, again, how you use it, because it does have a bias and it does hallucinate. So what does that mean? That means if you're just using ChatGPT, the free version or any of the free versions, you can ask it a question and it'll give you information that's out there on the internet. Now,
Mhm.
well as I do, there's a lot of garbage out there, good and bad, right? And it's going to feed you what you want to know,
Mhm.
what you want to hear. And the more you ask it, the more what I call the dumber it gets, because it's utilizing tokens. You only get so many free tokens, and every time it activates to answer your question, it's using up tokens, and you only get so many. And it could be in the hundreds of thousands, but depending on the type of question you ask, and depending on the type of work that it's needs in order to answer your question, it's using up more and more tokens. So not only until recently, ChatGPT 5 allowed you to ask more and more questions, more like a project type of thing
Okay.
we'd always done.
Yes.
So, as you're asking more and more questions, it's using up more and more tokens, and it starts to hallucinate, or it starts to give you answers
Mhm.
that it thinks that you want to hear, or there's a bias because the way it was designed, it only provided with so much information. So, you have to be careful of that. So that's why I always said it's always good to get on the paid version, but then you have to go to your city, township, district to say, are you willing to pay for this on a monthly basis? The benefits there, but again, IT has to be involved in that. So there's still some questions about how
Mhm.
extensive you want to get into it, but there is a huge benefit at the end. The biggest thing right now for what your folks are using is mainly for taking notes, which is ideal. It's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that. It's just jotting down what you say. And I tell you, Christy, when I used to have my officer meetings, we try to take notes and then we distribute out to everybody, and everybody would have their own version of whatever that
Of the.
message was,
Mhm.
right? So
Yes.
there was always reading between the lines, and well, he must have
Mhm.
meant this, or that message didn't get delivered because the officer didn't feel that that was important enough to share with his shift, and it was just a huge mess. But now it's so easy just to say, this is what we said, here's how we said it.
Yes.
It becomes a little bit easier to be more transparent.
Mhm.
So that's always a good thing.
Yes.
Definitely, read more about it, check more things out,
Mhm.
just do your own research, because it's very important to be aware of what's going on. And sometimes, yeah, just like anything, it's going to feel overwhelming. Just
Mhm.
back from it. Don't, if it starts to become overwhelming, then you've absorbed too much. Just step away from
Yeah, if you start to feel agitated, I agree. I think that's your sign. Like, okay, I just need to
it.
step away from this
Right.
for
But there's
sure.
so many cool things out there, real creative things that you can do. And yeah, absolutely. There are people who do share their very vital information.
Mhm.
There are people that put in their lab draws and say, "What's wrong with me?"
Mhm.
You can get some answers, especially now with ChatGPT 5. They're really focused on the medical piece end of it, so they're coming to points where they can figure out exactly illnesses or
Mhm.
injuries that you could be facing very soon if you don't change your ways, right? So,
Mhm.
in a way, that's a good thing on the medical side, but again, you have to be careful on the information that you send in, because and you
Yeah,
can
and
control it.
I think you have to remember what Jason said too. You're the human, you know.
Right.
Sometimes I find myself arguing with it. Matt's like, stop arguing with the robot. And I'm just like, it will say something and it's like, no, I'm the human. This is okay. I have this information, but I can do my own deductive
Right.
reasoning. And so you just have to remember that you are the authority
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
whatever you're putting in there and not let it just be like, oh, this said this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would just encourage you all to, I use, and I I think Rudy does too. I use Claude. I don't use ChatGPT.
Yep.
It's just my preference. I actually use the paid version. It's $20 a month, but it works well for me because I have my projects and it has everything in there. And so, but I love it because I'm a bottom line person. So when my, child's like, our kids are homeschooled, but they're in a co-op thing, and when she sends me this long paragraph of everything they did today, I like throw that thing in. I'm like, give me the bullet points, and it'll be like Latin. We did this, and that's all I need. And so it just saves me. It saves me absorbing too much information because I don't want to have to pick through all her wordiness.
Right.
And so, there's so many ways you can
Yeah.
use it to save yourself time to then be able to work. I think what it does for me is it saves me the time in the areas I'm not strong in to be able to work in my strengths.
Right.
It's like I don't have to pick through this, so you pick through it for me, then I'll do what I want to do with it. And so I think, wherever you're more comfortable, because I know there are parameters like Rudy's saying. I don't know in the fire service, same with Matt. He works for the government, for the military. And so he has to be careful what he puts in
Sure.
there and uses.
Hmm.
So, if you're more comfortable starting with your personal life and just doing something, even like you could even be like, hey, I have chicken, broccoli, and lettuce in my fridge tonight and some olive oil. Like, give me a recipe. And it'll say, do this.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, this is awesome. And so, you can play with simple things like that have no consequences.
Yeah, there
So
is. I was playing with course, and now I can't remember what it's called now. Um, there is a program where you can
okay,
download this video and
okay,
it'll summarize it for you, and you can also say, how can I incorporate this video in my day-to-day life? And
okay,
day-to-day life involves an 8-hour day at the fire service.
interesting.
I have 3 kids. I have a spouse. And how can I incorporate this that fits my schedule?
Hmm.
It'll review the video and it'll answer your questions, and it'll say, here's how you
Hmm.
specifically can incorporate this message into your life.
Hmm.
That's how cool this stuff is.
Yeah,
And you're not entering any real too personal information, just how you
yeah,
are and that type of thing. But
yes.
yeah, there's some very, very cool stuff out there.
Mhm. No, I like that. So use it, from even a coaching standpoint. Like sometimes I'll put in, hey, this is a situation I'm facing with just enough data for it to know. I'll be like, ask me some questions that I need to ask myself. And
Mhm.
like I'll use it as a coaching tool and it'll ask me the questions and then I'll be like, oh, that's my answer.
Yeah.
And so that's not giving me the answer. It's just giving me the questions. Like I'd be talking to a life coach across the screen and I'm digging within myself to find the answers. But so yeah, same thing Rudy's saying. Like you could put something in there like that and ask it how it applies to your life. So
Yep.
all kinds of cool stuff. But I did see, a lot of sticky notes on there that were like, this creeps me out. And I get it. I was creeped out at first too. I had to go to Matt because he's like the objective, like non-emotional. And I was like, okay, is the world ending? Should I use this? Is this awesome? Everything in between. And so I've kind of come to terms with it. It's like
Yeah.
I have limits with it that I won't go. But there's other things that I'm like, this saves me a lot of time and
Yeah.
a lot of not even time, but energy, a lot of emotional energy and spending it on doing things that just drain me,
Mhm.
and it can do it for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would encourage you to not be afraid of it, but just use it to your level of
Yeah.
where you find
Definitely.
them and give us some feedback. Like, if you guys have if you have specific questions on it, like send them to us so then we can do a podcast video and address those.
Yeah.
Rudy's been doing AI a lot longer than me, and we can answer those questions or give us your ways that you found that you love for it to work, for you.
Mhm.
So
And if you found an app that you found helpful, share
yes,
that with us.
yes.
There's tons and tons out there. The one I was
Mm-hmm.
talking about is called Astrolab, astrolab.
Astronaut.
So you can plug in your YouTube video and it'll
Interesting.
generate the YouTube, and then you can ask it, okay, it'll summarize it. Then you can ask Claude, hey, how does this work in my life? And then
Interesting.
your details on there, and it'll
I'm
formulate.
gonna try that. Okay, I'll let you know what I will have to do part two. I'll let you
Yeah,
know what I
super,
come up
super
with.
cool.
All
Sounds good. All right.
right,
Anything else,
y'all.
Christy?
Nope, that's it. I just wanted to address that after reading through all the feedback from that. But no, we appreciate Jason doing that for us at the conference
Yeah,
and
definitely.
enlightening us. So
Still getting a lot of good feedback about the conference, and we're already planning for next year. So look forward to the big news for that. And if you have any
yes,
sponsors that are willing to help us put this program on, let us know. We're always looking for new sponsors, and we're always looking for resources that's going to help us out to make sure that we continue
mhm,
this whole thing. So looking forward
yes.
to that. All right. Well, thank you
All
very
right.
much, Christy, for your time. Thank you all for spending time with us here on the Six Bugle podcast. We certainly do appreciate it. Everyone,